Laura Pennington here, and I want to talk about how to choose the course platform that's going to be the most meaningful for you as well as your students. Now, first of all, there's a lot of different choices out there. I'm going to name some of the platforms that I'm aware of, and then I'm specifically going to talk about two that I have personally used. But the most important thing to remember is that you've got to do your research and you've got to be clear about what you're coming into course creation with, as well as what you hope to accomplish. You want the platform to be something that's easy enough for you to use, that you can figure it out, but also something that is meaningful for the students. And there's really cheap bootstrap ways that you can do things with course platforms. In fact, my first ever course, I sold to two people. I created it because those two people were interested in it. I recorded the videos with a terrible microphone using cheap screencast software. And then I uploaded them to Vimeo and made each week's videos password protected. So it wasn't the most professional looking thing, but my students did still use it. Both of them were really motivated to complete the course and did not have a problem with that. However, I wanted to do something that would be a little bit easier to use for me, as well as would be more professional, and all the videos could be in one place. So if you have, zero budget and you're really nervous about pulling this off, you can do something like using Vimeo or using unlisted YouTube videos as a free method. But if you're really hoping to build a course creation business and have it look professional for your students and be something that you can use long term, you want to consider a different type of platform. And the reason that I ultimately switched to other platforms outside of just using Vimeo was because I wanted something that would come across a little bit more professional, and we wouldn't have to worry about all these different passwords on videos. So you can also always set up your own membership site. If you have a WordPress site, you can use plugins like Wishlist Member, and that will allow you to put your videos in a certain page on your site, and then people would just need a username and a password to set that up. Now, personally, for me, I find WordPress really annoying. It seems to have a lot of bugs and problems, so I don't love using it. And I also found that when I tried going that route, I was getting a lot of requests from students about resetting their password. So one of the things that I looked for in a course hosting platform was somebody who would handle those questions for me. So for example, when I work with Teachable, if somebody has problems getting into their Teachable account, that's something they will actually set up with Teachable directly. It's not me that they would actually communicate with regarding a password issue. And the same is true of Udemy, and that's one of the reasons that I like to work with Udemy. So like I said, there are a number of different platforms out there. I'm going to name a couple of them. There's Thinkific, there's Kajabi, there's also a company called Rizuku, and you can check all of those out. I looked at them and decided for one reason or another that they weren't the right choice for me, but they may be the right choice for you in your course creation business. So definitely something to consider are those three, because they're really popular, and I've seen them come up more and more in recent years with people who are interested in creating their own courses. So you can go ahead and check those out. Now, the two that I'm going to talk about specifically are Teachable and Udemy. And you will hear a lot of negative things online about specifically Udemy. However, there is a time and a place for using Udemy. I still love it, and I think it's a great way to generate passive income, and it's perfect for beginners. Now, Teachable is great if you already have a raving audience of fans and they simply just need to buy your materials. So that's something that you may want to consider. So let's dive into Udemy first of all. Udemy is an online course marketplace where tons and tons of students are signing up and taking courses every day. Now, Udemy has a reputation for kind of having these prices on courses that are really high, but then they discount it with coupons. And that's sort of the atmosphere that they have put together over there. So their students are sort of expecting that. However, if you have zero audience, when I started out, I had nobody on my email list. I had just those two people from my personal world who wanted to take my course. I would have had to invest a lot in Teachable and getting set up on Teachable and building these custom graphics, and then marketing. That's to say nothing of the marketing expenses in my business. So Udemy seemed like a great place to test my idea, right? The students are already there, and Udemy is going to do all of the marketing work for you. In exchange for that, though, you have to follow their rules. Your videos can only be between 2 and 20 minutes long. You have to have your audio and your video accepted by the Udemy team before you can start recording. You have to agree to all their terms and policies, and you don't own the email addresses of your students. So that's a big negative for a lot of people. However, if you're starting out as a total newbie and you have no audience and nobody's following you, Udemy is a great place to build your brand. And a lot of really well-known people in the course creation space got started on Udemy, and then ultimately decided they wanted to take their courses off the platform and bring traffic through their website. But if you're not getting any traffic yet, there's something really tempting about working with a company that's basically going to do all of the marketing for you with your course creation business. And then you're also going to get feedback. Now, the feedback system in Udemy is also not something you control, but you can get excellent feedback from people in that platform to learn more about whether or not your concept is really sellable. You can also use it to sort of pilot test your idea by making the course free or really, really cheap. Have some people come through the course and give you feedback, and then go from there. So there are some quirks with Udemy. You can find lots of negative things about it online. I've been an instructor there for a year, and I actually really like it once you get through the hurdle of having your audio and video approved. For me, that was the biggest headache. Now, if you do break Udemy's rules, you will be banned from the platform. So keep that in mind too, as you get prepared to investigate that option. I knew someone who was a very successful course seller on Udemy, making $400,000 plus per year just through them, but continuously broke Udemy's rules, and ultimately they banned him from the platform. So that downside of following their rules and doing things their way, it can really come back to bite you if you try to skirt around the system. So if you already have a list of raving fans, you already have an email list of lots of subscribers, I would recommend Teachable. I love Teachable because one, it's easy to use. Two, the interface is super professional. You can see it as a student going through a course, what it looks like. It shows you how much of the course you've completed. All of the videos pop up with nice little banners above the video about what's it about and the length of time for that video. You can break things into modules, super easy to drag and drop, different materials, PDFs, videos, etc. It also, I just love that it looks so professional from the instructor and the student standpoint. It's very easy to work inside. If you're, depending on whether your course is free or paid, there's different membership levels of Teachable, and I don't want to speak to those because, of course, they can always change. I have been on the professional plan. I've also done the basic plan. I believe you can sign up and do one course with Teachable for free, and then from there you would need to pay per month. And then the other thing to keep in mind is with their payment gateways, when someone purchases a course, if you're on one of the lower tier plans and you don't have gateways set up, Teachable will hold any funds that you make for 30 days and then pay you out, which can be really annoying when you do a launch and you were counting on that money. It can feel like forever. With the payment gateway, there's a pro and a con to that. So first of all, if you set up Stripe and PayPal or other methods, you'll get paid instantly in a couple of days. However, one of the things I found with that is that if you have affiliates, like other people who are selling your course for you, then it doesn't always automatically pay those affiliates out. So I had someone in one of my programs, she had sold 4 of my virtual assistant training class, and I just assumed that Teachable was paying those affiliates out. And then I logged into Stripe and saw, one of the transactions, the full amount was actually being deposited to me. And I thought, well, that must be a mistake because 40% of that was hers. But that's kind of a glitch or an issue, I guess. If you have payment gateway set up, you as the school owner have to pay it out. So there's a little bit more work there. Whereas with something like Udemy, they're keeping track of your affiliates and they're just paying you directly your cut. Of course, Udemy is going to take a cut of every single thing that you sell. So those are just 2 that I like. And now let's think about a couple of different ways you might want to differentiate these course hosting platforms. First of all, how easy is it to use? If this is going to be something you're logging into, your team is logging into, that's important to remember. Second of all is how do the payouts work? Obviously, you're going to make less money on a platform like Udemy, where the marketing engine is being controlled by someone else, but they're also taking a cut because of that. And if you're opted into promotions, which is really recommended if you want to have your course in front of as many people as possible, and give them those coupon discounts, you're going to make less money. When an affiliate sells a course of yours, you're going to make less money as well. So it's really about, what are your goals here? Is this something where you want to maximize your revenue? You may want to go with Teachable, but then again, you're going to have all those marketing expenses of building and growing a list and then staying in touch with that list. So, for a total beginner, Udemy often makes a lot of sense from a monetary perspective. The other thing to consider is what it looks or feels like for your students. You want it to be easy for your students, and you also want to be mindful of any tech problems that you may be responsible for. If I'm hosting my course through wish list member on my site and there's problems with WordPress crashing or someone can't get their password or whatever, I'm spending a lot of administrative time and even potentially money dealing with that. So for me, it just did not work out well. That was something I was specifically looking for in a new course hosting platform as well. And not just the money that you need to consider as well. Going back to point number 2 is that not just when you get paid out for selling courses, but what do you have to pay as a membership? So Udemy is free. I don't have to pay a monthly membership for them. But Teachable, I do, to be able to access all of their tools and things. And of course, Teachable has more integrations, and I own those email addresses as compared with Udemy. But think about those ongoing expenses too. If you're selling a lot of courses per month and it makes complete sense to be paying for the basic or the professional plan on Teachable, then that's probably not a big deal for you. But if you're bootstrapping this and you're just starting, it may be better to test your idea out on Udemy and then switch over to Teachable. And remember, at the beginning of this presentation, I talked about a couple of other options as well, Thinkific, Kajabi, and Rizuku. And there are other places out there where you can, host your courses. But come into it with an open mind and think about, what do you want the students to experience? How much work do you want to put into uploading and maintaining this website? And from a financial perspective, what's going to make the most, perspective or points or, value for you when you are signing up for that service? Is this something where you want to reach a lot of people and you're not as concerned about the money? I mean, I feel like for me, having a course on Udemy exposes me and my brand to so many more people than it otherwise would. So my course up there is not making as much money as my intro to freelance writing or my intro to becoming a virtual assistant courses that I sell directly to my list. However, I'm reaching a lot more people than I ever would have. So for building a brand and building an audience and credibility, I find Udemy to still be helpful even when I have courses on Teachable. Your courses on Udemy may be shorter and sweeter because they're lower price points. So something to keep in mind. I just found that on Udemy, my students never finish 6-hour courses. I never finish them as a student either. So when you're thinking about your course design, maybe these bigger courses that have multiple elements belong on Teachable, but then the smaller, shorter courses of 1 hour to 2 hours go better with Udemy. So these are just a couple of things to keep in mind as you select a course hosting platform for you. It's really going to be a personal decision. And the great thing about this industry is that as it's become bigger, there have become more and more options. So see if something works for you. If you sign up with Udemy and decide you don't like it, you can always take your course down from there. It will no longer be sold and switch over to Teachable. And you can do the same thing with other platforms as well. But choose something that you like working with, because if course creation is going to be an important part of your business, you want it to be something that's easy for you.